So, welcome to everybody because today we're here with episode 5 of Star Pulse.
Yes.
So, what do we have for you today? We have some two benefics in the sky. Venus and Jupiter, they are meeting in Cancer on the 11th of August. And we're, of course, very excited about that because, this is a blessing of the heart. What can it mean for you? So, let's maybe dive into each of the planets. What will you say about Venus?
Definitely. I made a note here just to let people know that it happens at 10:30 p.m. Pacific time on the 11th, which would be 1:30 a.m. Eastern time on the 12th. And I don't know what time that is in CET.
I haven't checked.
But
we are 6 hours ahead.
We're dealing with that. So the 11th and the 12th is when this transit is going to happen, but you'll be definitely feeling this energy for that week. So with Venus, the way that I like to look at Venus is there are two different sides to Venus. I look at her as she has an inner side and an outer side. And the inner side of Venus is all about how we are building a relationship with ourselves. How do we value ourselves? What do we find value and meaning in? Our relationship with safety and security, our relationship with our resources, our food, our money, and things like that, and how we're placing our sense of value on those things. Do I feel like I feel better about myself when I eat or when I drink or when I make more money? Or do I feel like I'm able to source that from inside of myself? And I don't really need anything outside of myself. That's the inner side of Venus. Jeffrey Wolf Green used to associate that part of Venus with the psychology of listening, or the inner ear, from the perspective of how we talk to ourselves, in the sense of, do you have a self-critical relationship with yourself where nothing is good enough, and I feel like I'm not pretty enough, or my hair doesn't look good enough, whatever it may be. That's the inner side of Venus. And what happens is through Venus is that then creates a vibration and a frequency of how we relate to ourselves, which creates the projection, the outer side of Venus. And that's what we attract to us. And that's going to be love and beauty and romance and all of those different things.
Yeah, and you're really talking about the Venus in Taurus in a way, and the Venus in Libra, right?
100%. Yeah. And you could see that there's this relationship between Venus where there's a desire for self-love and there's a desire for exterior love.
Yeah,
and it doesn't always a love from others, and learning how to share with others, learning how to give to yourself and learning how to share with others. And at the same token, it also has a lot to do with beauty and aesthetics. There is something about it where we can find value and meaning in the beauty, whether that's skincare or the sense of things or artwork or the creative expression. So Venus for me has a way of bringing all of this to the table for us. And I always say that, like with love, with Venus, how much do you value yourself? How much do you truly, what is your relationship like with yourself? How committed are you to yourself? That feels like very much a Venus concept to me. And then that will reflect the types of outside of experiences that you're having.
But it's so true what you say, because when you're talking, I really think about, the first love is the love within ourselves. And how we validate ourselves. And very often that is seen in how we attract, what kind of partners we attract as well. If something is missing in that self-love, we are looking for the other, we are looking for the Libra kind of love that will make us whole, and also, we shouldn't forget, it's also a lot about harmony and balance, both of them. I mean, the Venus Taurus quality is like, it's as much, can't we just get along, as the Libra in terms of, creating harmony and beauty and, a calmness around us. So that is very much the Venus. But Venus also have another strike. It can also be jealous, and it can be possessive.
Attached.
That's maybe not, very attached or codependent. There's other sides to Venus, but let's think about it, how it unites with the other benefic, the
Jupiter. Yeah, go ahead. What do you feel? What do you feel with Jupiter?
Well, I feel, for me, Jupiter is that planet that everybody feels, it's a lucky planet. But I still, and it is a lucky planet, but you have to work for it a bit. It doesn't mean that everything will go your way. It just means that it's highlighting certain aspects. Wherever it falls in your chart, it will highlight certain aspects, and what sign it falls in, it will highlight certain themes. And this is Cancer. So it will highlight the nurture and the taken care of and the safety, just like you spoke about with Venus. There's some similarities there, and it will it's if you think about Cancer, it's the mother goddess in a way, and then you have Jupiter as this king of hope and dreams and prosperity, and it is quite a combination of good things. And of course, but let's also not forget that Jupiter is also about belief systems. So when it falls in Cancer, it's like, what do we believe about family and nurture and feeling safe and feeling good about ourselves? Or have we had enough of all the good things? I put a few questions, something to think about when they meet on the 11th or the 12th. I was thinking, where in your life do you need to be emotionally repaired? Because in the sign of Cancer, there is, in an ideal world, we all have enough love and nurture and safety and all those kind of things. But many of us go through life and we're longing for something that we didn't have. And now that these two planets meet in Cancer, it's almost like you do get a chance to address that within you. And that comes back to self-love, perhaps, before you go and search all that love from the outside to repair something. First of all, what do you need to repair, and what can you do yourself to repair that? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. And Jupiter, I connect it with almost the archetype of the teacher, and the quest that we're on in this lifetime. And what happens is that Jupiter is sort of this expansion artist, but the expansion is going to happen in the ways in which we may not be expecting. And so that's why I'm so careful when we talk about serendipity and luck, because it may not be the luck that you think it is, but you will look back one day and be grateful for it. And so the expansion that Jupiter can bring really is about aligning you more deeply with that quest, with that purpose that the soul came here to actualize and live out. And so if we are in a relationship, for an example, or we're in a career position right now that is disconnected from the heart center, what Jupiter could manifest is getting out of that relationship, even though you may feel like it is it and all of these different things, it may not be what you think. And there's something about Jupiter really trying to be like a flashlight, to shine a bright light and illuminate the pathway forward for us. And so I think in when we deal with Cancer, and I love your question that you asked, because this does feel like a big call back to the heart center and calling back to say, how am I doing on the inside? What's going on here? Because what happens with Venus is, in relationships, we get into relationships because we don't feel like we can get our needs met by ourselves. So we put those needs outwards into relationships. And at the same token, in order for the planet to keep operating, one of the things that needs to happen is procreation, which is a very Venusian Martian theme. And what happens is that becomes a projected need into our relationships, just as an example. But if we feel like, oh, I don't want to be alone, what do? We go find a relationship. Or, I don't feel like I could do this by myself. I don't feel like I can get love this way. I'm going to go try to project that out. And what we do is it's projected needs. And so what happens here for me is, how are we projecting our needs outwards? How are we putting out our needs in what we feel like we really need out on other people? How can we learn to take care of that ourselves? How can we restore that within ourselves? Or how could we locate and heal whatever it is that we need, or learn to give that to ourselves?
Oh, I love what you say as well about Jupiter, if I might interject. or that sometimes Jupiter, can be that catalyst to say, this, I'm not getting my needs met, my love needs met. And I believe now that there is something else there for me. And there is this leap of faith with Jupiter, where you allow yourself to leave what you know and what feels safe and secure, which is very difficult with the Cancer energy, because we like to stay in that. I know the devil I know, as opposed to the one I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But there is something about Jupiter that pushes from within to say, I believe there's something better and bigger out there for me.
Yeah. And we have to find that we have to believe that exists. We have to believe that we are better, or we deserve more than the circumstances in the Cancer environment that I'm within. Yeah. And so what can definitely be happening is that expansion can be of my own inner world, and allowing for myself to feel comfortable and safe enough to heal or feel whatever's in my heart that I've been so nervous to feel and heal. Yeah. And so I love this. And what could that then create is, if you do allow yourself to lean into this emotional landscape, you're going to start harvesting a relationship with yourself that is going to create a better frequency and attraction for you in this world. And you'll be happier because of it.
No, I was thinking, about rewriting. That was my other thing, which sort of love story with yourself, or believe about yourself, what needs to be rewritten. Or maybe you think it's perfect as it is, but most of us feel, we need to sometimes rewrite the story.
100%.
The things we tell ourselves. And now, since the themes are, love and relationship, nurture, family, all those like soft things in life, this is maybe a time to rewrite some of these stories in our own head.
100%. And I love that especially during Leo season too. That's the thing.
It's Leo season, yes.
Having this transit unfold during Leo season, I think is so cool, because Leo for me is all about stepping into our own shoes and owning that and being like, this is me, this is who I am. Yeah. And what's happening is, in order for you to put on those shoes, you need to feel comfortable and safe enough to wear those shoes. And so that may require the need to evaluate the stories that you tell yourself about your past, because Cancer has so much to do with our early emotional conditioning in our past. So there's something to this that could be rewriting those stories about the childhood, or rewriting the stories about my relationship with my mother, how I was raised, how I was loved, how you are loving yourself, how you are doing that for yourself. And there's something, I know what you're about to say, so I'm going to bring up a word and then you can take it away.
I don't know. I don't think you do.
Where can I have forgiveness for myself? Where can I bring more surrender to what is unfolding or what is being asked of me? Which leads us into
you're thinking about the moon in Pisces now. Oh yes. Yeah, moon in Pisces, of course. I wasn't actually thinking about that, but yeah. It's so true, because as we know, the ruler of Cancer is the moon. And what is the moon doing? It's sitting in Pisces, which is, one of the most beautiful, holistic, spiritual, seeing the bigger picture kind of energy. And that is coming in as well for us. And maybe that's what you're talking about, rewriting that family story. And also the way we like to meet this partner that should fulfill our needs, we need to first look at being more inner driven and not so outer driven, because we need to as well grow and evolve into that great person that we want to meet ourselves.
You just triggered a thought.
Yeah.
That in the search for someone, for that partner, I have the question for you, the listener, you, everyone.
Yeah.
How can you make yourself that partner that you're looking for? How can you make yourself the partner that you're looking for? Mm-hmm. How can you become that? Because when you can start to make that gap for what you're wanting, you're going to start manifesting as you move forward in your life self-reliant relationships,
I have an answer to that.
which are relationships in which I don't need my needs met by you, that I'm very much okay with my life and how things are operating, that I just would like to create memories with you and have companionship, but I don't need your money. I don't need this. I'm good, and I don't need
need
someone
you to save me, right?
or make me happy or fix me, or I don't need to fix you or anything like that. All of those complexes dissipate in self-reliancy. What was your answer? I'm curious. I'm so curious.
Well, one of the answers is I feel that sometimes we delegate, we outsource certain tasks for a partner to do for us, right? Make me feel good, make me feel beautiful, make me feel intelligent. That's going to stop. We need to stop outsourcing and start, manage this ourselves. To say, you get up every day and you take care of yourself. You prioritize yourself, you nurture your body, your soul, everything. That is already like taking back that outsourcing and make sure that it's handled in-house instead of out of house.
I love how you just said that, because, and the thing is, I think people are so afraid that if they do that, they're going to be single and they're going to be alone for the rest of their life. And what's happening is that's not the point. The point is that when you do this, you can attract healthy relationships, healthy work environments, and healthy family relationships. Everything changes. So I love that you brought that to the table, because I think it's so important. And the other thing I want to say is, just to reiterate something, I think it's really important with the moon in Pisces, because in astrology, for those of us who are beginners, every planet in astrology is ruled by something, another planet in another sign. So when we say that Cancer is ruled by the moon, what we're just saying in a more complex term is that this Venus and Jupiter in Cancer that we're talking about today has a relationship with the moon in Pisces. They're having a conversation together. And so there's something about this moon coming into the equation that is going to bring and amplify the emotional dynamics. And what we want to be so careful of is, are we escaping or avoiding our problems? Am I running away from emotional dynamics that I know I need to address? Because this is a wave that you want to ride if it comes to addressing the emotional dynamics, because it can be very cathartic. And so I think one of the things that you and I were talking about before we came on here is, normally if anyone that's listening is watching on TikTok or watching other videos, people are going to look at this Venus and Jupiter conjunction and they're going to sensationalize it. They're going to fantasize this and be like, oh my goodness, this is the most magical time of the year, all of these different things. And while to an extent, Venus and Jupiter conjunct in Cancer is very beautiful, one sentence that you said that I loved is that there are a lot of other actors competing for attention on this day.
Yeah.
And that complicates the transit slightly. From the perspective is that while there is this opportunity and an invitation to really do the emotional inner healing and rewriting the stories and all of these things that we're saying, the other actors on the story on the stage,
yes,
are probably the culprits to why we need to do this.
But if you think about it, like if you think about it as a stage, right? We have main characters. So I feel really the main characters is Jupiter and Venus, because they're the most shiny and most beautiful. But like a hero's journey, they have to, handle challenges. And they have to handle a little bit from Mars. They have to handle something from Saturn and Neptune. They're not alone on stage. So, but maybe what it means on a bigger level, like we talked about the configuration, is that those are challenges to this harmony and family dynamic and love and prosperity and all that. But the focus is really, how to overcome these challenges is to really deep down, dig into the roots of and make that the focus. Make them keep them as the main characters for you, because it is very rare. This constellation of Jupiter and Venus, like we talked about, last time they were together was 24 years ago, 2001, and you know, for some of us a bit more mature, you know, I remember exactly what happened in 2001. It was in August, and I just got married. I was expecting my first child. So it was a typical, I mean, it was the moment of Venus, Jupiter in Cancer, creating a new family. And that's why, you know, when we think back, wherever you were, whatever you were doing at that time, maybe you were a baby, maybe you're not born, but if you were, what have you learned during this very long cycle with these two planets about love and, you know, security, safety, family dynamic? What have you learned that you can, you know, what do you want to bring with you and what do you want to let go of in this when it comes around this time? You know, what does not need to be there anymore?
I love that you brought this up. I just have the dates here: August 5th, 2021. So 2001.
2001 at 4 degrees.
It was at, I have 5 degrees and 6 minutes in Cancer, conjunct the North Node in Cancer. And the moon was in Pisces around that time as well.
Oh my gosh.
And then June 3rd, 2002, I keep getting that mistaken. That was Jupiter and Venus in Cancer again. So they were back to back. And that was at 17 degrees of Cancer. So if you know your astrology, it's important to look at these degree markers in your chart. This specific conjunction is happening at 14 degrees and 3 minutes. And we will have one more Venus and Jupiter conjunction in Cancer, June 9th next year.
Yeah.
And so these cycles that we're going through, I think, is important. And what you were getting into just a little bit is because with Mars is involved in the equation, Saturn's involved in the equation, and Neptune is involved in the equation. There is this dichotomy that's unfolding. And I love the word harmony and balance because we are trying to find harmony and balance amongst the potential for chaos and crisis.
Yeah.
And the chaos and crisis that really can unfold here is that there's me and we. There's me and everyone else. And there's a call to action that I want to do something for myself, but there may be this pull or desire where my choices that I'm making are for other people. And what's happening here is that can create this tension within us. And the real medicine is, why am I acting out? And why am I putting other people first? Why am I doing these things? Or why am I only putting myself first, depending on how you're coming to the equation? The medicine is Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, which is, why am I here and what's going on right now? And I feel like the potential of this day can expose a truth within us or in our interpersonal relationships that can really help us understand more deeply. Maybe there was something that needed to be tended to or healed, or there's a lesson, there's the teaching moment that can come out of this. And so I feel like that's where Pisces gives us the forgiveness and gives us the acceptance and gives us the surrender and allows for us to go with what is being asked of us. Don't fight the flow. Feel the flow. That was what Cancer would ask of us, is to feel this flow and be okay with it because it may be uncomfortable.
I love it to say the flow because we shouldn't forget there's a lot of water here. You know,
a lot of water.
And we have moon in Pisces.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intuition. This is, you know, how we often talk about Neptune or Pisces or the 12th house as the unconscious side of us.
Yeah.
You know, this water element where there's a lot of flowing information, but it's very hard to make it into matter and make it real and understand it in like psychological terms or emotional terms. So we have the chance now to tap into these things that we might not have been conscious about when it comes to family dynamics. You know, why are we repeating certain patterns? Why are we falling for the same type or dynamic with somebody? And sometimes you have to say, wow, is it me? You know, I did it again. You know, I created the same type of relationship. Where's it coming from? This is why it's so important, like you said, you know, almost go in like a investigator with yourself and see, okay, where is this coming from? But
Totally.
use that intuitive water element energy to connect with it now. It's a good moment.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, in one of your videos that you produced for Astrology in Motion, you talked about the importance of Pluto, I believe you were talking about.
Yes,
And Pluto has a huge responsibility in this week. And Pluto will give us the room to do what you just said.
Yeah, the
will
transformation.
Will give us the space to be able to embrace that transformation. And so I feel like for those that are brave enough and courageous enough to sit with what is uncomfortable emotionally are going to notice the influence and the effects of this over the next year of their life when that next conjunction happens in June of 2026 in Cancer again. So again, one of the things I was going to ask you, I know you mentioned that you might have a question or two to contemplate.
Yeah, I mean, already I had a few already, but I do want to just, if I can just add a little bit about Pluto.
Oh, go right ahead.
Yeah, no, because it is very interesting how this month is going to be, you know, there's going to be a trine from Mars in the beginning of the month or just after this Jupiter and Cancer aspect. But then on the 23rd, that's going to be Uranus making a trine. And, you know, the trine is a positive, you know, supportive aspect as opposed to the square. So it is, it means it's more up to us how we want to take action as opposed to things happening from the outside. So it is good to align yourself with these energies coming in this month to try and make the most of it. So, and that with Pluto, as we know, it is, you know, is a very transformative type of energy, but it's also highlighting where you give away your power. Where you give away your power, and this can be a real game changer when you try to take that back. And that means, for example, owning your own behavior, your own beliefs, your own shortcomings, you know, not to shame anybody, not to shame ourselves, but really to find out that, let them go with this healing energy we'll have with the moon in Pisces and the Cancer, right? So I was just thinking about, you know, it was more about what kind of this can mark for us a new beginning in terms of an emotional chapter and a new chapter for self-love and becoming aware of our family or our ancestors and how that role played out. And when we want to create our new family, what do we want to take with us of beautiful things from our family and what can go in the dumps?
Yeah. I love what you said. The one thing with this grand air trine with Pluto, Uranus, and Mars, ground yourself, ground your nervous system. Nervous systems could be through the roof in the month of August. Feeling like,
but also be open to ideas because it is very airy, you know, it is, you know, a lot of.
Be open to the spark of creativity without a question, especially with Uranus and Gemini here, trining this Mars and trining Pluto. And as we go through all of this, it's prep the vessel for the ideas to come through. Prep the body.
I had the one question that I wanted to ask, which is, what does, when this transit come along, what does emotional safety look like for you? For you, all of us? What does it look like? You know, is it to have enough money in the bank that will make you feel safe? Is it to have a big house? Is it to, you know, feel healthy, you know, love? I mean, what is it that makes you feel emotional safe? Because if you begin with that within yourself, whatever that looks like, I think that's the beginning of this new chapter.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the root of Cancer, of what Cancer wants us to embrace and lean into. And so if you lean in and you create the environment within yourself to be in that receiving state, and you're not all over the place and you're not scattered and you're not chaotic, I think that's when the magic can happen. And the magic can be those ideas coming through for you. or whatever it may look like, whatever it could be, relationships coming in, it could be work energy, work opportunities. But if you're not grounded enough within yourself and your roots, it can be a very destabilizing energy. So just be aware of that. And so that takes leaning in, spend some time by the water, go to the ocean, go to a lake, go to the river, put your feet in the water, do something like that. Could be very good with Cancer energy. Spend time with
keep
water.
those two planets like your main characters in your play. If you think about a play, since we are Leo season now, keep them as the main characters who has to take a few challenges, perhaps.
Yeah.
Which could come in forms of challenging your beliefs, even your beliefs about yourself. So, and let us know how it goes.
Yeah, please comment. Let us know how everything goes and how you're feeling about this energy, or where this shows up in your chart too. Because if I see some comments, I'll comment back with people if they know where this is in their chart.
Yeah, no, that'd be really interesting to think about which area of your life that this would be highlighted.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, and thank you for everybody who joined us. And see you